Hi everyone, welcome to my little instructional how-to video on how to embroider the laser cut ornaments that you've purchased from Tall Pines. This isn't going to be super extensive, but I just wanted to give you a few little tips on how to do this and so that you can see it in action and gain a little confidence to go ahead, dive right in, and maybe even make some changes to the design to suit your taste. So first things first, you're going to receive an actual diagram for each of the 6 designs in the set. You're also going to receive a needle and you're going to receive your embroidery floss. I have some here at home that I wanted to try out for this particular ornament. So this color combo is just something that I pulled out of my collection, and I deciding that I would like to use 4 colors today, but you can use 3, you can use 1, you can use 6 if you want. The way that I've drawn them out, I've tried to keep it to 3 or 4 colors, and the kit will have 3 or 4 depending on the design. One of the tips that I wanted to make sure to pass on to you was to take the time at the very beginning and print out your schematic and mark it up before you start so that you know exactly how you want to do this. You can always improvise later, but it is a little bit easier to keep track of where you're at if you can decide firsthand where you want the colors to go. So using some highlighters, I've just got a series of colors here. I'm going to use 4 different colors that are easy to differentiate from each other. And I'm going to highlight where I'd like my different colors to go. Now I've kind of given you a design here already in the schematic, and it kind of matches what's going on in this ornament right here. But for this one that I'm about to do, I'd like to change it up a little bit. It's my ornament, my prerogative, so you can do the same. So taking one color, I'm going to highlight which stitches I'd like to create using, using the darkest thread. So I'm going to go in, and I'm doing this differently than the one that's already done. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a bit of a gradient to the snowflake instead of this color blocking that I've done. Each petal, leg, arm of the snowflake, whatever you want to call it, will actually be gradient. So the darkest color is going to go in the middle. Then I'm going to go second darkest along here. This will be really helpful later, you'll understand. Okay. Then the second lightest color will come in here. Like so. And I think I'm actually going to do these ones in that color as well. Okay, I like the way that looks. For my lightest color, basically all the rest. Do this beforehand, then what that means is you can sit down and do this while you're watching TV, or if you're slightly distracted, it won't be the end of the world. For the middle one, I think I'll use that one again. Okay, so now I don't need perfect lighting to be able to do my work, and I'm much more likely to stay on track and not make mistakes. Number 2 for tips is to mark the back, and I'm going to, when you receive your kit, there'll be a little letter written on the back here in pencil that matches the schematic so that you won't get confused. I haven't done that yet, but that will be there. So what you want to do here is identify the midpoint of your ornament so that you understand and you can place your design properly. You just basically follow the midpoint and the midpoint, and where that crosses, that's the middle. So that point right there that I've just drawn in corresponds to that exact point right there in the middle of that stitch. So I will actually probably not put that stitch in just yet. I'll do that when I do the rest of the what's highlighted here in orange, but it's really important for me to know where it is before I get started. Otherwise, it's too simple to have your entire design be totally shifted in the wrong direction because you've started off in the wrong place. So it will start with the darkest color, which on my schematic here is highlighted in blue. Given the number of stitches, I would say I'm probably safe using about 18 inches of floss at a time. I have some allergies, so a little bit sniffly today. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the back of this ornament. I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing this way. So the first few stitches are very important to go slowly and carefully, and you're going to be flipping the ornament back and forth quite a bit. Okay, be prepared for that. It's okay. You're even probably going to doubt yourself. Just take your time. Once you have the first color in, it'll be much easier to orient yourself. So the middle stitch is not the stitch I'm going to do. I'm going to wait on that one. I'm going to start, though, probably here. So this is where things can get confusing. I'm about to sneeze, I'm sorry. Pardon me. This video is very real life, by the way. If you wanted some polished videography, I'm sorry to say you're not going to find it here. So the mid one is there, and we want to go 1, 2 to the right and 1 up. So for this particular ornament, because I'm putting a stitch in the middle, I'm actually going to also add a little dot right in the middle here. Because I'm going to cover that up with thread in a bit, I don't mind having a little dot there to help me navigate. Not all of the ornaments have a stitch in the middle, so you can't necessarily do that to all of them, but I am going to do that here. And you remember we said we're going 1, 2, and then 1 up. So if this is 1, we're going to go 1, 2, and then 1 up. So there's my first leg of my first stitch. So once you have that in and you know it's in the right spot, you can breathe a little bit easier. You'll notice that I left a tail hanging in the back. Absolutely, you want to leave that there nice and long, probably over an inch, maybe 1.5 inches long. And you're going to hold it with your finger of your non-dominant hand. Okay, hold it snug so that you can pull on your thread and make your stitch nice and tight. For this particular design, I like to go and do all of the right-leaning stitches first down the leg, and then come back and do all the left-leaning stitches like this, and then do the same and come back and then do this all the way around. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. I find that a little bit easier for navigation, and there's going to be far fewer long floats on the back of the ornament and a lot less mess back here. So not every ornament will lend itself well to that approach, but if as much as you can, you should try to do that. You'll learn as you go. Before I pull my thread, I want to come back to the back of my ornament here, And you see how I was holding the tail down? If I hold it in the right spot, I can actually use this stitch to tack that tail down. That's very important. We want to keep doing that. Okay, we're going to do that for 3 or 4 stitches, and then we're going to snip this tail. But this is how it gets secured on the back. Now before I pull, I'm just going to double check to make sure everything is laying properly on the back here. Okay. And you want to make sure that you're pulling fairly tight on your floss. After a while, when you start filling these up, if your tension is a bit too loose, these holes can be difficult to pass your needle through once they've got, 4 different threads going through them. So you want to keep things tidy and snug. And I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've already done 3, so we're going to do 2 more. Oop. Still nice and snug. It's number 4. And number 5. Okay. I'm going to go to the back here real quick and come up, and I'm going to go back now in the opposite direction. Before I do that, I'm actually going to snip that because it's going to get in my way. So I'm going to snip that and just discard that little tail. Okay, so now we're back where we started, which is great for this design. Now I'm going to go up and then come back down with this row. And we want to go leave this one blank and move up and put one in. My highlighter is showing you that it's blue right here, but that's not actually a stitch. So we want to go up 1 and over left